So this is the shot we are trying to recreate. I've had this idea for a couple weeks and I'm finally executing on it. So let's get right to it. In Blender, go to your motion tracking tab since we have a moving video, and drop in our background video. Click on set scene frames, then prefetch. Now you want to go to frame 1 and detect features. Yeah, I think we have a lot of features here. Then track forward. Then at the end, you want to detect more features. As you can see, most of the ones on the floor are no longer there. Detect features and track backwards. Then go to the middle, say 90. Detect features here and track backward. Detect features at 90 again and track forward. Now we have a whole bunch of tracking markers. Now let's take out this one and this one, the markers that look like they are doing too much. Yeah, now we can go to solve and hit solve camera motion. We have a 12 pixel solve error. So we should come here and click on clean up, then clean tracks. Then drag this until we have few of the markers selected. Something like this. And X to delete, then solve camera motion again. Now I have a 2 pixel solve error. Now let's do that one more time. Clean tracks, select some of them, X to delete, solve camera motion. 0.86, I think I like this. Now let's click focal length optical center and solve it again. Now I have a 0.21. Now I like clicking the solve camera motion a couple more times to be very sure, because Blender camera tracker can just look, it's changed already. You can just go crazy and change this to 24.5. So yeah, we have a 0.23, cool. Now let's come here to output, switch this around to 1080p versus 1080p by 1920. Then come here and hit setup tracking scene. Let's bring this one down, bring this one down. Select these 3 markers and hit floor. Yeah, then select this one and hit origin. Cool. Now I believe this is a well tracked video. Yeah, since this entire tracking process was very smooth. Let's shade flat. Edit mode, bring this up, rotate it a bit, and let's make the ground invisible so we can check our track. Yeah, this is nicely tracked. Cube seems to be sitting right on the floor. Good. If you're a 3D artist or a 3D animator, or maybe you're just interested in creating product VFX videos like this, I'm putting together a course where I go through my entire process. I mean, from filming, how to shoot these background videos, what to look out for. I just did a 30-day VFX challenge, so trust me, I know what to look out for. We're going to talk about coming up with ideas, compositing, color grading, and those extra little things that make your videos pop. I see a lot of people that know the general principles for creating videos like this, but the output is not that given. So I'm going to be sharing with you the fastest workflow, and trust me when I say fastest, I know what I'm saying. I did this thing every single day for 30 days, from shooting to animating to rendering, color grading, sound design, and all that. And even if you're a complete beginner, if you have no idea how to use Blender, I'm going to have a absolute beginner section of the course where I break down some of the tools and how to move around in the software. So if you think it's time for you to dive deeper into this product CGI VFX space, the link will be in the description. Let's get back to the video. Now let's bring back our ground. Let's rotate it on the Z-axis. SXX. You're trying to make it line up with the road, so these are the lines on the road, these white lines. Rotate it on the Z-axis so we have it aligned. Yeah, so rotate it on the SYY. Still we are out of the frame. SYY and SXX. Then SYY again, so it's really covers the entire space. Yeah, so make sure you run through the entire footage, make sure the camera doesn't go outside the ground. Yeah, cool. Now what I did, I was thinking of a lot of ways to approach this, and this was what I ended up with when I was working at this late at night. Let's just delete everything here and add a cylinder. Yeah, let's also bring the cylinder GZ1 so it scales from here. And then let's scale the cylinder down. Then hit S, Shift Z to scale it on every axis apart from the Z axis. Something like this. And scale it on the Z axis, come down a bit. Now let's go into edit mode. Make sure you're selecting all those vertices at the top, everything here. Now go back to your front view. Now let's move this to the side using G, rotate it a bit, extrude it, move it, rotate it a bit, extrude it again. We are trying to create a hair follicle, so just repeat that process. Maybe we can scale it down a bit, extrude it, scale it down a bit, extrude it again, move it, rotate it, scale it down a bit, extrude it again, scale it down even more, move it here, rotate it, and let's just do that one more time. Extrude, scale it down, something very small. Yeah, I think there we have it. Looking like a nice looking low poly hair follicle. Now we can right click and shade smooth. Yeah, so I didn't bother to make it super high quality or anything. Yeah, so I think this is good. You can make it a little bit bigger. I think this is actually fine. Now let's go into, click on the hair follicle, go into modifiers and add an array modifier. Now let's increase the count to about 10. Let's rotate it so it's facing this line. Basically the same line following the floor. Let's make the ground invisible so we can see that. So let's bring it down on the XX axis here, out of frame. Increase the count to like 15. Let's bring this down so they're a bit closer. Increase the count till they have gone out of frame. So go from left to right of the timeline to make sure it's not coming out. Yeah, like this one is coming out. So let's increase the count even further. Say 32. Yeah. So we have a long line. Now let's also add another array modifier. This time set factor x to 0 and factor y to 1. Okay, let's increase it from 1. Let's make it more like 1.9. Yeah, then increase the count. So I have about probably 5 of them. Okay, maybe 6 of them. Yeah, so it's right beside this white line. Yeah, that's our hair follicles. Let's go to material, new, make this black. Just a black, maybe reduce the roughness a bit. Now let's add a cube and rotate it on the Z axis and scale it on the Y axis. So this was just something I added in the end that's going to be, it's going to serve like our skin, because I searched for reference of what hair follicles look like and I realized that they shouldn't grow out of the road, because that was my initial idea. So they just come out of the road. But then I decided to have something like part of the skin, epidermis, or what is it called. So let's move it and arrange it so it's just around everything else. Yeah. Now let's scale it on the Z axis so it's quite thin. Let's bring back our ground. I want it to be just above the ground, like just a little bit above the ground. Yeah, so we can know that there's something there, but not so big that it feels like a separate entity. What we can also do is Ctrl A and S to apply scale, then go to modifiers and add a bevel modifier. And we can just bevel this, reduce the amount, something like this, and bevel it, maybe increase segments to 8. Yeah, I can right click and shade smooth. So it looks like a nice platform. Cool. Now for this one, let's apply the array. It's Ctrl A and Ctrl A on top of the modifier to apply it. Then go into edit mode, A to select all, P and separate by loose parts. Now have different objects. So go to object, set origin center of mass. So we have these individual objects with their correct origin. Now let's click on this cube here and go to rigid body, make it passive, and do the same thing for the ground, rigid body, passive. And here let's select all of the hair follicles, make sure one is highlighted in yellow, add rigid body, keep it active, then go to object, rigid body, copy from active. So they all have rigid body. Let's select everything and make sure they are above this guy here, because I think it's intersecting. So let's bring it up. Yeah, let's play that and see. So when we hit play, nothing happens as we want it to be. We want everything to just be in one place. So something else I did was to randomly delete some of these hair follicles. That was just me though. I just deleted some of them because, you know, it's hair. I looked at reference, I realized hair is not usually this arranged and organized. So that's just something I personally chose to do. You could choose to keep it this way, but then I just thought it added to how realistic it should look. Yeah, you could remove more. You can see it looks more like hair now when you remove a bunch of it. So you can do this a lot and make it very scanty, or you can make it very thick. That is up to you. So now that we have this, let's add in our clipper. So I got this clipper model from CG Trader. I don't think it was free. I didn't see a free one. So this one was about $3 or so. Yeah, some people complain about this wire thing. So let's go into edit mode, L to select this part and delete this wire, and Alt click to select this rim. Oh my god. And F to add face. Yeah, so it looks like an electric razor. Okay, now let's bring this here. Oh, where is the beginning? Oh, the other side. Bring it here and rotate it. Let's rotate it on the x-axis, on the y-axis I mean. Yeah, and rotate it on the z-axis, just to make sure we face this thing. Yeah, then rotate it on the y-axis, something like this. Now let's bring it here and let's make sure it's as big as it needs to be. Okay, this is not oriented properly. Yeah, now scale it up till we are exactly the same size as the hair follicles. So something like this. Yeah, so let's bring that over here. Make sure it's not intersecting, just around here, and bring it back. This is where we're going to start from and take it to the other side. So the final thing we want to do, you could use this as your rigid body element, but as you have seen in some of my tutorials, I don't like doing that because it slows down my rigid body since this is a complex mesh. So I like to model a very simple mesh over it. So let's add a cube, bring it here, scale it up. Let's just select the cube and the clipper, click on slash so we see just those two. Let's scale this one up, bring it around here. Let's rotate it so it's the same angle. So let's go into edit mode, select these vertices at the top. Let's just bring it down, then G, Y, Y to bring it in this direction. Then move the entire thing G, Y, Y. Yeah, so we want this pointy edge to be in around where the actual clipper pointy edge is. So in wireframe mode, so use Z to get to wireframe mode. Then we want to just line these two up. Yeah. Cool. Now let's go back to edit mode. Take this 1, 2, 3, 4 and bring it on the GYY. So it's somewhere here. You could take these ones, these two down and bring it up here. So here and GYY. Yeah, just a very rough modeling of this. Ctrl R to add a loop cut and bring it down here. Then click on those two vertices and GYY to bring it outwards. Up here. And also do the same thing for here. Bring this here. It doesn't need to be accurate at all. Since we are not seeing this at all, we are just using it as a rigid body collision object, and we need it to match the dimensions of our actual clipper. So SXX to scale it to fit. Good. Good, good, good. I think this will do. This will absolutely do. Yeah. This will absolutely do. You can also take this edge, these two vertices, and bring them up here, and bring these ones down here. But anyway, from here, what we can do is to click on the clipper first, then click on the cube, then Ctrl P to parent. Now, whenever we move the cube, we also move the clipper. Let's go back to solid view, click on slash to bring everything back. So at frame 1, let's add a location keyframe to this guy, to the cube, hit I over here, and at frame at the end 160, 168, let's just bring this over here to the end and add another location keyframe. Now around the timeline, hit T and set it to linear. We don't want it to have a Bezier interpolation, you just want it to go straight down. So this is too straight. Let's take this and bring it forward here, and let's add another loop cut here and bring this one in here. Yeah, so it resembles the clipper a lot better now. Now the final thing we need to do is to click on the cube and give it a rigid body, make it active, then animated. Then let's turn it off, turn off the visibility in the render and the viewport. Now when we hit play, let's see what happens. So it basically just shaves the entire thing off. So yeah, that's pretty much how I made this animation. So if you want this video I used in the background, along with every single background video I've used in this entire challenge, so that is 30 background videos in total, the link will be in the description. And also if you want this blend file, the actual blend file I used for the challenge, and every single blend file I used for every day of the challenge, the link will also be in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.